So yesterday we started looking at the life of young Joseph. Joseph has been sold into slavery by his brothers, and he is now working for a man named Potiphar, who is a captain of the guard for Pharaoh. And Joseph, he's doing really well. Anything that is in his purview, anything in the house, anything in the field, Potiphar doesn't worry about anymore because it's under Joseph's control. And he is not concerned with anything except what he ate, because that's something that Joseph was not in charge of. But not only is Joseph really good at managing the finances and taking care of the house and of the field, but as it says in verse 6, Joseph was handsome and well built. The Bible mentions that in a verse, that he was handsome and well built. All the work that he's been doing in and out of the house has been paying off. He's looking good. Brother Joseph is a good looking brother. And it doesn't go unnoticed. Sister Potiphar's wife, comes to him and says, hey, she takes notice and she says, lie with me, sleep with me. And his response is not, yo, if I do this, I'm gonna get fired. Are you crazy? I'm gonna lose my job. More than that, maybe Potiphar's gonna kill me or put me in prison or whatever it may be. That's not what he says. He says, how can I do this thing and sin against God? His view of this action was not really offending Pharaoh or offending Potiphar or offending Potiphar's wife. It was, how can I do this and offend God? That was his view about this sin. But that didn't stop Potiphar's wife. No, in verse 10, it says, she spoke to Joseph every day, but he did not listen to her about lying with her or being with her. But it happened one day that Joseph went into the house to do his work, and none of the men of the house were there. She caught him by his clothing, saying, lie with me. But he left his clothing in her hand, and he fled, and he got outside. And when she had saw this, that he had left his clothing in her hand and had fled outside, she called to the men of the house and spoke to them, saying, see, he who has brought this Hebrew into the house has brought him in to humiliate us. He came in to lie with me. And he cried out with a loud voice, and I cried out with a loud voice. But when he heard that I lifted up my voice and cried out, he left his clothing with me, he fled, and he got outside. Basically, she accuses him of rape. She accuses Joseph of rape. It says here that she did not listen to what Joseph said about, all that stuff. She talked to him every day. She was asking him, come sleep with me. She did not relent. She didn't say, oh, this is a good kid. I'm not going to, mess around with this kid. He's a good kid. He's on the high and narrow path. I don't want to mess with, let me find some other slave boy to mess around with. No. She spoke to Joseph every day, but he did not listen to her about lying with her or being with her. And in the moment where she really just came on to him to really have him give in to her, he didn't stick around. He ran. He fled. What can we learn about this story, this section of the story? When we are faced with temptation, we should not treat it as something lightly, as just a little flirtation, little flirt back here and there, maybe search a little bit longer. No. The thing that we should do is the same thing that Joseph did from the very beginning. He did not listen to her about lying with her or even being with her. So I'm sure that not only did he, ignore what she was saying, he purposely avoided places where he would be alone with her. Just being with her, he didn't want to do even that. And in the moment where the temptation was coming onto him so strong, he didn't stick around and try to rationalize and say, oh, no, look, Sister Potiphar, I've told you many times, I can't do it. Okay, maybe just... No, he ran. He ran from her. He took off. I was thinking about this story as I was kind of preparing and reading this. And to stand up to Pharaoh's or Potiphar's wife as a slave, think about the confidence that takes to, you're the slave, you're the property in this situation, to talk back to to your master's wife. The level of confidence that it takes, the level of faith that Joseph had in God. He didn't care that I'm a slave, I'm in a foreign country. It'd probably be best to stay in the lines and not rattle anything and not shake the boat. I don't want to mess up what I have here. I don't want to jeopardize my life. I'm going to just comply. I'm just going to comply. I'm not going to, because I don't know what's going to happen to me. No, he doesn't comply. He sticks firm with what he believes is the truth. And that's what I want us to do as well, man. Because many times in life, you might be the only one in your social circle that's going to say, no, I'm going to stop looking at porn. I'm going to stop sleeping with my boyfriend or girlfriend. I'm going to start doing things God's way. It doesn't have to be sexual temptations. It could be anything. You might be the only person in your family, in your social circle, in your community that is trying to do things in the way of God. And the pressure is going to be, I don't want to rattle the boat. I don't want to be the one that's singled out. I got to really know my place. No, stand for what you know is true. Not only that, when it comes to sexual temptations, don't stick around to flirt with it. When you're faced with something online, don't research it further. Catch yourself. We've talked about this in the past 30 days or so. A prudent man foresees evil. So if you know that going down a certain road is going to lead you down a certain path, down certain actions, and to a place you don't want to go, stop yourself. Tell yourself, no, I'm not even going to flirt with it. I'm out. Run. Close your computer. Get up and walk out. Go somewhere else until that feeling and that temptation goes away. Submit it to God. And then when the temptation gets really hard, don't stick around. Don't flirt with it. Don't rationalize with it. It is not a temptation that gets better the longer we stick with it. The longer you stay in that situation, the stronger the temptation gets, to the point where there is no return. There is a threshold to which we cannot return back from it, and we will fall. But don't get mad after you're after that threshold and be like, oh man, I messed up again. No, you walk down that road. You set yourself up. Don't set yourself up. Run from it. Let's take notice of this young man, Joseph, who, this kid's probably a teenager, early 20s, but he still had the strength and, dare I say, the balls to stand up to people who were in his superiors, to stand up to people who were higher than him, to people who could kill him. And he still stood up in a foreign land, in a foreign country with a foreign language, and he said, no, I'm still going to stand for what I believe is true. And I pray that we have the same conviction. I pray for the same conviction in my own life, that, man, no matter what comes my way, no matter what temptation comes my way, I want to be so secure, so founded in my relationship with God that I say, no, I'm not going to mess with it. I'm not going to flirt with it. In fact, let me get up on out of here, and I'm gone. Let me not flirt around with this anymore, because I know myself. I know that if I stay here, I'm going to, if I stay in this certain location, I'm going to mess up. If I hang out with these certain people or this certain girl, if I go visit this girl or whatever it may be, I know where things are going to go. So I'm not going to go down that path. I pray that be our attitude going forward. So he runs. She commits, or she yells rape, right? She accuses him of rape. What happens? Let's find out tomorrow.